Hello and welcome to another episode of Live Talks with Fawole. We have not the voice behind the camera. We have the wizard. Ooh, and we have Huey Rose from Manhood Academy in the house. Come on.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming. Give me three. Like we're gonna go 1, 2, 3. At any given time, if I something I like, or if you do something, something that's for fact, I'm gonna say, yo, and just so you know, that's a pattern, yeah?
All right.
Huey, good to see you. I'm just gonna just post this because this was you. I want to make sure I send this out right, and then we're gonna start the show. Would you mind putting your thing on there, your name, like just your app or just your name on there, so when it goes out, just type on there, it's up on the screen. Yeah. I'm excited about this interview. Been a long time coming. Thank you. Been a long time coming, and let's just post that. And it's something that's very, 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 very close to my heart. I've got children.
Yeah.
Like, I was a boy. Now I like to say I'm a man. And I really appreciate the stuff you're doing. Like, but I want to paint a whole picture for everyone. I want to talk to you about you because not everyone knows everything, I don't think. So, who are you, sir?
Okay, well, Huey Rose. I grew up in Harlesden, born and bred, NW10.
Nice.
And then moved to Harrow, then moved to Watford,
Okay.
then moved to Northampton.
Okay.
And so I've moved around quite a bit. And then I spent a lot of my adult life, about 6 years of it, in Washington, D.C., America.
Nice.
Yeah, and got to know more about myself, black history, our culture. And I would say that those years in America, those 6 years, really helped develop and change the person who I am today.
Mm.
So
What age was you when you was there?
I was in my late 20s, I would say. And I left here in 1989.
1989, okay.
Went to America, stayed there until 1996.
Okay.
And I come back here. My son was young at the time. Picked him up, came to live with me in London.
Nice.
Raised him to the age of 15, 16. Then he moved back out to Northampton where the family was, and a lot of my family members lived and friends and stuff like that.
Okay.
So it was great experience for me, and I really got to find myself. I was on the path where I was reading a lot of self-help books. I had mentors that were guiding me, protecting me and stuff like that.
Is that before you went or when you was out there?
That's when I went out there.
When you went out there?
Yeah,
Okay.
when I went out there.
Okay.
Got to meet with Minister Farrakhan,
Okay.
who was a great inspiration to me.
Okay.
And also my spiritual father, who's Dr. Khalid Muhammad.
Okay.
He trained me for a couple of years and actually gave me my revolutionary rites of passage, should I say. Mm-hmm. And so I'm eternally grateful for that part of my life and that manhood of development. Now, moving on, I became a Pan-Africanist.
Okay. I want to go back.
Yep.
I want to go back because I want to go there as well. I want to go back. I want to know about when you was a child here, before you had that the enlightenment when you was in Washington D.C. and you had the clarity. That's right. If I can be so bold as to call it the clarity. What was your childhood like?
All right.
When you was like, where was you when you was between say birth to 5 or about 5? What was you like? Where would you live and what was it like at those years?
Okay, so those years. Childhood, I was living in Watford.
Watford, okay.
I was in the church.
Okay.
So very grounded. Attended a private school.
Okay.
Called Stanborough Park.
Nice.
It's
All
a
boys?
Seventh-day Adventist. No, it was a mixed Seventh-day Adventist school.
Okay.
So a lot of the white Adventists would send their children there.
Yeah.
And obviously the black middle class or black working class, they would struggle to get that money to send their children there too. Mm-hmm. And so I was fortunate that my parents could send 2 of us to private school.
2 of you, yeah?
Yeah, myself and my sister. I used to walk to school 3 miles a day.
Yeah.
Yeah. And growing up in the church, I became a musician.
Yeah.
Became proficient on the piano.
Yeah.
I had a teacher that really trusted in me.
Nice.
That was a member of the church, Mrs. Isaacs, Sister Isaacs.
What was it like walking?
It was good. It was fun. We used to like play football with stones on the way to school. And stuff like, remember them days?
Keep yourself, keep yourself occupied. Yeah.
I used to love it. You know what I'm saying?
The simplest things could keep us happy.
Didn't feel no way.
Yeah.
3 miles was fine. I had no problem with it. 3 miles there, 3 miles back.
Yeah.
It took me about 45 minutes to get there to school every day.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was great.
Busy being a child, isn't it?
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
And so that nurturing within the church was a very good foundation. You got involved with Pathfinder, which is similar to Boy Scouts.
Okay.
And you go through different elements and stages within that. And I became a genius on the keyboards. So both piano and organ.
Nice.
I went up to grade...
You play one day.
Yeah. I went up to grade 8 on the piano. I took it in stages, grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, grade 4. After grade 5, you do the theory, and then you continue to 6, 7, and 8. So it was really interesting going up. But I noticed that there was a lot of jealousy, especially when I went amongst white music teachers. I said, "Oh, how comes you're so young and you're so advanced in music? Well, who did this? How did you do it?" I said, "Well, my dad taught me. My dad was my first teacher. And then when I outplayed my dad, he had to send me to a proper teacher."
Nice. That's nice, man.
Yeah. So they weren't helpful. They didn't really want me to get far in the music industry. But
Who's that? Come in. What? Go on.
But my natural talent surpassed everything, so it didn't really affect what I did or what I was. And I was a young organist in the church.
I want to ask you something as you're talking. Sorry to interrupt you your story.
Yeah.
What would your advice be to a young person that would be facing that adversity? You know, you're skilled, you've got talents and stuff, and you can see there's that kind of that jealousy holding you back a little bit almost, or the resentment that you said you encountered from your teachers. Did you feel it at the time?
I felt it at the time, but I didn't really complain about it. I told my mum about it, and so she had to move me and put me under a black music teacher. Okay. Which was Mrs. Isaacs.
Okay.
So she's the one that was the solution.
Yeah.
To get yourself a black teacher.
Yeah, okay. Get someone who identify with. Oh, so
identify
with. So the jealousy was strictly was more racism then.
That's what it was.
Why does this young black child have so much skill and so much talent? And he's wow. And that's going on a lot for a lot of our youngsters as well.
That's
isn't it?
right. That's right.
Wow.
So I was just naturally gifted.
Thanks God for your mum, man.
In music, yeah, definitely. You know, so I was just naturally gifted, and then I became minister of music in the church.
Nice.
So, and I can play up until today. If somebody called me to play for a funeral or a wedding, I can just do it without. I don't practice anymore. Second. I can just automatically just go on the piano and just play, or organ and stuff like that. Nice. It was a natural talent that I possessed. Nice.
Let me ask you that question again. I want to. What would your advice be? I answered it. I talk too much sometimes. What would your advice be for a young person who's skilled or talented, or who finds that they're hitting the glass ceiling, or they're being held back, or they feel stifled by the people that should be teaching them? What advice would you give to that young person? Like I'm saying, literally, give me the advice so we can give to them.
That young person needs to get grounded with a mentor that looks like themselves, and preferably go to some black skilled teachers that can help them and nurture that talent. That's very necessary. Because I was also chosen from my school to join a choir in a white church. Okay. A Church of England church. Okay. I was their first black head chorister. Okay. They've been going for 200 years. Wow. So I was the first
must have been hard, mate.
Black boy to head up all these white boys within a choir. Yeah. So so those are the type of abilities that I had, because so I could sing, I could play, and I could teach.
Wow.
So I used to teach young children how to play the piano, how to play the organ.
At what age?
In my 11.
11.
Yeah.
So where excuse me, no, where on God's green earth, because I swear too much anyway, so I'm glad I never swore just now. Where did you get this assurity? Where did you get this, like, you so blessed at that age to be so, like, focused and everything, to be able to teach as well. Where did this come from? I remember me at 11, what was I doing? Probably playing Kiss Chase or something silly like that. Like, I was probably able to do stuff, but it hadn't been nurtured and stuff, and I hadn't, I'm in awe of your 11-year-old self, Huey Rose.
Yeah.
But yeah, where did you get, was you like that from young, from birth? Because you seem very focused as well, even as we talk.
Yeah, well, what it was just growing up in a loving family, having that nurturing from both mother and father, and then extended family too. So
nice.
Members of the church, your peers, and things like that. So
nice.
all these things help, to ground me and things like that.
So what's your heritage?
I'm an African out of Jamaica.
Nice. It's about that. It's about that time. Here we go. We're gonna free African out Jamaica. I like that. I like that. So let's go back to you was teaching people in the choir. This is your progression. You was teaching at 11. You was teaching in the choir, and then where did you go from there?
No, I was teaching young people, giving them personal lessons. So they would come to my house, and I'd give them half an hour lessons at a time.
You pay for that and everything, yeah?
Yeah, I would charge them £5.
Nice.
Yeah.
Back in the day, that was a bit. Yeah.
So they'd come in the house, give them half an hour tuition, and then they come back the following week, and I kept it going.
Nice. Nice.
And then obviously I transgressed and went from school into college. And then from college, I didn't want to really work for anybody. So from the age of 17, I started knocking doors for a living.
You say knocking doors, what do you mean? Come in.
I got some life insurance for you.
Okay.
I became a life insurance salesperson.
Okay.
Yeah, so...
nice.
So from there, I've been a salesman all my life. I've never gone and worked for any particular individual company.
You're still doing stuff like that now as well.
That's it.
What would you say is the difference between the time you was growing up and today? As in, because you had to face, initially, I'm saying the racism that we faced when I was younger. You might be a couple years older than me, but there was a lot of racism out there in the streets and everything. Now it's more, I don't know what you would call it now, because people are just kids are killing each other, doing mad stuff, and it's no longer racism. It's something else as far as I'm concerned. But in comparison, what's the difference between when you was coming up and now, and the challenges you had to face going from, school, home, around, living as a young black man? Like, what was the difference in comparison? Could you let me know?
Yeah, I would say in when we was growing up, we was actually probably more unified around the racism issue. And we was more protective of each other as a community. Whereas now, there's subtle racism going on, and it's on a more deeper scale, I would say. But with the advent of internet and stuff like that, there's more information out there for people to be more knowledgeable and to have that as a badge of honor to protect or learn about themselves. So I'm saying the information's out there. It's just for people to go out there and look for it, in my opinion.
Would you define subtle racism for me? If you can, like, what's going on to what's happening to the kids? Because some people they're oblivious to this stuff, you know?
Yeah. Racism to me is when it's power plus prejudice. So because we don't have any power, we can never be racist ourselves. So the people who can change the statutes, the law books, the justice system, the police, the educational system, those people are racist because they've got that power plus prejudice.
Okay.
We can be prejudicial, but we're not powerful.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So being prejudicial meaning having an opinion. So we can always have an opinion. But to be a racist, you need to have power plus that opinion.
So if you don't like a particular group because of their ethnicity, their religion, or anything like that, you just class that as prejudiced.
Yeah, because that's an opinion. But when you have the power to change that law, to change that facility, to put this in an educational book, or to force a system onto you, that's power.
So what about if the people are physically aggressive, like what we saw happen to that young lady? That was the young girl that was beaten up, and then there was a mother and a daughter. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I can't remember the names or nothing, but that was racism, wasn't it? No,
most definitely.
But prejudice at the same time as well, because they was just inflicting violence.
Yeah.
So then not to contradict what you're saying, but someone who hasn't got power, because like the powers that you defined, could still be a racist and implement racist views and racist attacks and all those kind of things, irrespective of that kind of thing.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah, it's a lot out there, man. It's a lot, Huey, man. It's a lot. Let's get back to you growing up, sir.
Okay.
Back to you growing up. So you've become you're teaching people. You're getting £5 a lesson. You've done a door-to-door salesman because you're not ready to work for anybody. You don't want to work for everyone. That's what you're saying.
Right.
Yeah, you're a very serious guy. You know that.
Come on,
you don't play at all.
Come on now.
Cool.
Yeah. So I elevated myself in the insurance industry, became a serious insurance salesman, and then my path progressed where I went from England to America and continued the same trade.
Nice.
Yeah, so I was considered an insurance salesman in the top tier because I was hitting the figures that you need to be remarkable at your job.
You know, easy. Let's digress. So, insurance. How important is it in today's market for people to have life insurance? I'm going to start. I've probably got a list of questions when it comes to insurance. You've been an ex-insurance salesman, and I know a lot of the laws and things have changed since you were selling insurance as to the policies and stuff.
Yeah.
But how important is it for, let's just say, a parent to be insured?
It's vitally important. And what it is, I don't think we take it that serious. But when we lose the loved one and you ain't got no money to bury that loved one, that's when it really hits home. So back in the day, our parents used to take out what you call whole life policies. So I'm not sure if you remember when you had a white man knock on the door.
I remember the guy coming,
collect that £1 or £2.
I remember him and the Avon lady.
That's right.
I remember those two coming. And Jehovah's Witnesses.
Yeah,
okay. Jehovah's Witnesses.
Yeah, they've been the strongest cold porters around for many years. Because they used to come around, but the Adventist cold porters used to come around selling their books too.
Yeah, some of the Adventists. Yeah.
But who have been very consistent in this country have always been the Jehovah's Witnesses.
Yeah.
But going back to the insurance line of work, so our parents used to always have a policy.
Yeah.
And so you would never ever hear of our parents having to use GoFundMe app to raise money to bury somebody. That was unheard of. That was never done before.
It wasn't out there. It wasn't an option.
Yeah, but you wouldn't even hear about them going around asking for money to put together for a funeral.
Yeah.
But you hear that now.
Yeah.
And the policies now are inexpensive, so it's not rocket science that one day you're going to die.
Yeah, everyone dies.
Why don't you cover yourself? One of the policies I always used to make sure that I had personally was something to protect my income, just in case I became sick and hurt and I couldn't work.
Yeah, sorry.
I would have that money coming in.
You got to slap me back when I slap you.
Yeah,
You get back to me.
Yeah.
Someone just told me about income protection insurance, critical.
Yeah, critical illness.
Critical illness insurance,
Yeah.
and then life insurance.
Important.
And then something for burial. People at home, because we're going to talk about this and we're going to get other stuff, because you brought up insurance. Get insurance. If you got kids, you got family, you got loved ones, it's necessary. Everybody's going to die. You can't beat that. Please, do something good for yourself and your family. Love yourself, love life. Please, Huey Rose, thank you.
Give you an example. I I play badminton on a regular basis, and I must have been coming out of my car, and I slipped, and I kind of tore up my ankle, and I couldn't go back to play. I couldn't go back to work, and I was out for 3 months. And I was able to claim on my insurance.
Yeah.
And they gave me £1,500 for each month that I was out of work.
Yeah, that's good.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Keep going, yeah.
And then if I hadn't had that, because I'm self-employed, when I don't work, I don't get paid. So I couldn't go into work for 3 months, but I had that money coming in. That just to,
keep tie you over, yeah.
Tie me over.
And even sick pay is nothing near what you would get normally, even if you had.
Because I'm self-employed, I don't get sick pay.
But even if you was employed, sick pay is a fraction of what you would get anyway. So it's necessary to have that insurance.
Very important.
Or you're left out in the wilderness, basically.
That's it. So it's critical that we look at when I sit down with white folk be discussing.
I'm dead. I'm sorry, I couldn't hold that in. No, because there's some. Sorry. Go on.
They be talking about generational wealth.
Yeah,
that's what they'd be chatting about.
Yeah. When you say white folk, I thought you was about one person in particular. When you said it, that's why I laugh like that. Yeah. I remember Phil saying, "We got to talk to white folk." Yeah, white folks up in the house. That's what made me laugh. But yeah, their perspective is different.
They're talking about generational wealth. They're talking about the trust they've got set up for their family. They're talking about if anything was to happen, how this house is going to be in a trust, or how their wills are sorted out. You sit down with black people, that subject's not a subject that's brought up.
Why do you think that is?
Because of our lack of financial education, our lack of our resources to invest in ourselves, our lack of knowledge of self.
Okay, I can concur with those things, but then at some point there must be people that's looking like from slavery to now, like within every race, in like, look, these people, they're winning, like white folk, like they're winning, their kids are all right, they can live, they've got their white privilege. How do I get some of that? Over the years, people must have thought, or we must as black people, as human beings, okay, let's change the blueprint. Yeah. Let's try and do this thing where it's got, like me myself, I'm trying to start a house sigil. I've got kids. I want to have my insignia. I want to have certain things, and my lineage goes on and on and on. And when you see that thing there, it's the Fawole clan. But that's something coming. That's what I'm starting to work on. That for me came from a lot of different things. It came from not from so much as the rich dad poor dad kind of looking at generational wealth like you're talking about. It came more from that back in the medieval, even further back, like your name carrying on and your family name carrying on. And just seeing that kind of like, so opposed to the wealth, it's more my name lives on, my family lives on, my lineage will be, I want to go to the moon. I won't be able to go, but my kids will. So I'll be there. Right. You know what I'm saying? The family will go to Mars. God, sorry to digress. But yeah, we talk about generational wealth and how English people, how white people are more astute to doing it, and black people haven't been like programmed, for want of a better.
Yeah, we're financially illiterate.
Say again?
We're financially illiterate.
Financially illiterate, yeah.
Yeah, that's the bottom line. And that has to change. And it changes by sharing information, having podcasts like this, having people discuss it, doing workshops, seminars, and actually instilling it into our children. So one of the things that I used to like to do with my children is to show them how to sit down amongst themselves and just run business. So, you be the chairman, you be the treasurer, you be the director, and then here's £50. Manage it. Do you see what I'm saying?
How many kids you got? Excuse me.
6.
Wow. Sorry. Here you go. My water don't drop. Yeah. My man.
Yeah.
Like that. Boys, girls?
2 boys, 4 girls.
Well done. You're blessed. Mm-hmm. You're blessed. So when they run business, have you made all 6 of them run business before? Like
no, just like the young ones, like the bigger ones. I didn't instill that in them. But
how's that going?
Yeah, cool. They adapted it to it well, but it's just something that needs to be nurtured in our families.
Can I ask where?
If you want to talk, remember, speak up or the mic. Remember.
All right. So we've highlighted where black people are sort of like illiterate and they're not good in things. Could you highlight some places where they are good in things? Because I always like to look at both sides of it. Do you know what I'm saying? Is there anything where we are excelling over white people?
Well, it's really just the norm if you come to think about it.
I'm so sorry. That's that excelling over white people made me laugh again.
Yeah,
Sorry.
it's like we excel in entertainment, we excel in sports, but we're not excelling. We're not accelerating in medicine. We're not accelerating in business. We're not accelerating in science.
Can,
So these are the things that we need to really step up
step
on.
up in. But
Yeah.
then, like, as far as I'm concerned, we sell in all those fields. It's just there's not to put water in your fire, anything like that. But it's a narrative that we're told or we're shown. So we're shown the negative examples consistently. When for me personally, I know academically we're excelling. There's black children and black entrepreneurs, people with some serious brains in their head, achieving some serious stuff. Black man made the traffic lights. What three things he said? We said business, medicine. Come on, look how much we're in there, but they're just not talking about it. Do you know? Like we've got from the doctors who are in the hospital to Dr. Sebi to the natural doctors to the doctors they call witch doctors, but they're actually herbalists. I think that they're there, the examples are there, but they're just not being celebrated as much as they should be celebrated.
But I'm saying, if, for instance, you was to say, all right, let us look on the high street and let's look at the businesses that black people control or run. What are the popular businesses that black people have on the street?
Hairdressers, food shops. Just give me a couple more if you want. I don't know.
Well, that's it.
No, but I would kind of disagree with that because there's a lot of black people that are very behind the scenes in a lot of businesses.
No, but the thing,
They might own like
yeah,
leases for a set of companies down the high street that you would never even know
No,
about.
okay.
okay. But what I'm trying
for real.
to say to you is that unless we have visible examples of black businesses progressing, our children will only go on the streets and see the black businesses that are there. And as a community, we call ourselves a community, but we're not a community. In a community, there's 5 things that you need. You need to have your own supermarket, your own hospital, your own school, your own clothing, and your own home. These are 5 things that you need in for a community.
So,
Sorry, I forgot to say your own bank. So these are essential
6.
things. Yeah. So these are essential things that you need. And the thing about it, if we're not making these things visible, that means we're looking to somebody else to look after those needs for us.
Okay.
So in a community, you should have your own supermarket. You should have your own hospital. Yeah. You should have your own bank. You should have your own religious establishment. Yeah. And we tend to have a lot of churches, but when the church picks up that money on a Sunday, they take it to a bank manager that doesn't look like us.
I mean,
And if you turn it the other way round,
yeah.
and if I sat down with some Jewish people and I told them, where do you bring your money when you finish your Sabbath from the synagogue? Do you bring it to a black bank on a Monday morning? They'll tell me no. What do? We collect all that money on a Sunday from the church. We collect all that money from the mosque on a Friday, and we deposit it with our enemy.
That's a strong word.
Well, it's the truth.
Why is that the truth?
Because it shows us that we don't really have a community because we have no ownership of our own
No,
bank.
why is anyone that's not black our enemy?
Because if you look at what some of these banks were involved in and their involvement in the slave trade, that's not somebody that's our friend.
Okay.
If you look at some of the insurance companies who insured the ships that took our our forefathers to the shores of the West Indies, to the shores of the Caribbean, to the shores of America, you wouldn't consider that to be your friend.
Yeah.
So I'm
But then
saying
you've got-
I'm saying it in that context,
So
that
what
if we love ourselves,
Yeah.
we'd put that money within ourselves or amongst ourselves.
So what about, like, just to think, what about the maybe black banks or black businesses or black heritage families or people that profited from slavery and stuff as well? There's some of that stuff out there still. So how would you be able to differentiate between that?
That's a different context, and really it's too wide of a subject to go into. You know what I'm saying? We always look at that, but we never say to the Jewish person, oh, you know, some of your people participated in the Holocaust.
Holocaust.
Yeah, which they did.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Some of them participated in it, but you never hear them saying, oh, how do we look at the fact that some of our own Jewish people sold us out?
Yeah, but I mean, to be fair, I can't make the same comparison with that. I can't do that because you're saying some people sold them out for death, and we talk about some people like they're coming to the country. To me, it's a little bit different. There's a difference there. It's not the same. It's not the same kind of. It's not the same kind of story. It's not the same kind of fight. I couldn't make that comparison. As in, a Jewish person selling like a Jewish person to protect themselves from getting killed in the things. It's all atrocious. To let's just say stronger black tribe going in, getting people who are weaker, and then selling them out into slavery. I think they're a bit different. I think the two's a different kind of thing. It's in the same genre, but I think it's different.
Yeah, but I'm saying we never question it.
We never question it.
We always question ourselves as to why that happened amongst us, but we never question other races as to what was your participation in what happened there. And I think that we need to be even-handed, and I feel that question never gets raised because we've got either kind of frightened to raise it or we're uncomfortable to raise it. Whereas I don't feel uncomfortable.
Okay. I feel a little bit uncomfortable when, like, what we were just talking about before, when we're saying what we're saying about there not being black entrepreneurs and this and that. That stuff makes me feel a bit uncomfortable because I think the stuff's out there as well. Just the fact, just because you just ignite certain things in my head when you say that. So that stuff, when people say that, like someone last week said black people don't read. I nearly lost my mind. I know you're not saying that, but I nearly lost my fucking mind. Like, and I think when we talk about certain things, like you just said, that's what illuminates me. We feed into that narrative.
Yeah.
Like on both of us fed into that narrative as far as I'm concerned. I did on the on the spectrum of saying, oh well, black people sold black people into slavery and so on and so forth. And I feel you did when you spoke about us not having certain things, like the three things we spoke about. I can't recollect what they was, but yeah, you know what? Go back and interview be able to see.
No, what I said to you is that for us to call ourselves a real community.
No, not that. Prior to that.
Oh, I was saying that we don't see our people excelling in
those things there. I don't think that's. I think that's us feeding into narrative, because I think if we went on the thing now, I could remember, and I know you've got big examples of young black men excelling. There was a young boy who went to Oxford at a certain age recently. That was in the papers. There's a lot of stuff out there, but we're not being shown it. So I just think, like, sometimes we feed into the narrative. Like I said, I'm guilty of it here just now, and it's just for me to kind of like to maybe change my thinking, understand the power of the words that I'm saying when I'm saying them, maybe, and understanding how this is how we change that thing. But like you just said, those things happen within the Jewish race, but no one really talks about it. That's so we need to stop talking about the negative things in ours and be talking about just the positives. Even though we know they happen, fuck that, bonfire on that. Let's talk about the positives. You get what I'm saying? So yeah, I feel educated in that. Thank you. Yeah. I like that. So you went to America when you was...
I went in 89.
89. So how old was you?
I think I was in my early 20s.
Early 20s.
Yeah.
You've got your head screwed on. You've been selling insurance door to door. You've been teaching children how to play the piano. You're grounded and centered. That must be so therapeutic as well, being able to just let off the energy into the keys.
Yeah.
That must be so calming and stuff, man.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it must be. But you still play though, no?
Yeah, like I said, I will play like for a funeral or wedding or anything like that.
You still teach?
If somebody called. I don't teach anymore, no.
Okay, why?
Because I'm teaching other things now.
Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, I don't teach
So,
anymore.
so you got to America?
Yeah, got to America. Went into a shop.
Sorry, why did you go? Last question. I will stop interrupting
Okay.
you. Sorry.
I wanted a change of environment, and I actually really wanted to see how black people ran things in America. So I didn't like New York, so I left New York and I went to DC. And DC, to me, I just call it Chocolate City
Okay.
because 90% of the population there is black.
Black.
So they look like me. So it was interesting that I was able to see a black police chief, a black ambulance chief, a black mayor, black council men and women, black bankers, black doctors, black business people. Everything there was black. The only thing white was the White House.
So was there a sense of black community over there then?
Of course, because all the major things I told you about, there was black people running that. So I'd never been into a black bank before until I went into Washington DC. I never worked for a black insurance company before until I went into Washington DC. Because I worked for a company called North Carolina Mutual. One of the oldest, if not the oldest, black life insurance company.
North Carolina Mutual.
North Carolina Mutual.
Big up North Carolina Mutual. Check it out if you haven't before.
Yep.
It's still out there, yeah?
Still out there.
Cool.
Still
Black
kicking.
owned bank, yeah?
Black owned bank. I went to a black owned bank. I opened up an account with black owned bank. I worked for a black insurance company. The insurance company, I tell you this, how that insurance company got started, yeah? The black man who started it, he had to give his money to get the first building to a white person to get the building for him. Because if he was black, they would have given him that building.
Okay, now I'm understanding. 'Cause I was confused for. I wasn't with you just then. So you're saying I'm the money was by the building now. I got this a white person. Listen, yo, Brethren, do me a favor. Take this money and go and buy this thing for me because I can't buy it. Because you know what I mean. Help me out. That's what went on.
That's how what went on. That's how he got started. So they bought the building, and then they started selling policies amongst black people.
Wow.
And then they became mega.
How did that make you feel having the experiences that you had since you was from birth and stuff, and now like because you know like there's how did it make, I need some you to tell me how it made you feel like when you put the them in a black bank, I put in a black bank and I feel I'm now around my black people, I'm doing this and as a black insurance company and this.
I felt so good. I was on a natural high because I'd never ever done it before.
Why?
Ever.
Why?
Because I couldn't. There was nothing.
No. God, you can answer that, but I'm saying why was you on a natural high? I want to get it from you. I can't ask me this question all the time. What was it that gave you that natural high? Like, what was it?
It just felt good being amongst your own, spending amongst your own, and contributing amongst your own, and everything coming back as black. You know what I'm saying? It was just a different feeling. You know what I'm saying?
Is that because you're aware of all the other stuff, all the negative things that are out there, the racism, the glass ceilings?
Yeah, I just realised that there's an actual opportunity where black people can actually get to any stage in life that they want to get to.
Nice.
Once I saw that setup,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying? You know, where could I have gone where I could just sit down and have a chat with the mayor of the city, just like that.
Wow. And you can identify with him as well.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then where could I go where I could just meet with the black police chief of the city, or the black ambulance chief of the city, or you know, something like that.
The positive icons that you was talking about before.
Then the highlight: attend the Million Man March in 1995.
What was that like?
2 million black men. it's just like a sea of black. You know, like when we go carnival.
Yeah. No, it's better carnival, but yeah.
I'm talking about the magnitude of numbers.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But just seeing totally just black man from 3 miles down the road to 3 miles in front of you. It's just an amazing feat.
It's more than that though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, it was more than that. 'Cause I don't know what goes on now. Because for me, like I never went, but if you say it, as I'm thinking of it, you got how many people you said was there?
2 million black men.
2 million black men, right?
Mm.
They're there for a reason. It's the reason they're there for. That energy in one place. It ain't carnival. They're not there to dance or rub up or scrub up and push up and drink up.
That's
you get what I'm saying? They're there for something serious. They're there to show solidarity. They're there to show power in the black nation. They're there to show we're not going to be run over and walked over. To me, it reminds me of that scene in the film Malcolm X when they go to get Brother Johnson from the police station.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And
that was powerful.
Yeah. And it just shows me, and we don't need no aggression or nothing. We've got the power within us. We can walk, and we're here to stay, and we're doing this together. That's what that says to me, and that I couldn't begin to imagine the energy that you must have felt or what must have been there, and how it's a historical day.
It was powerful.
Like even thinking about it makes me like,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it was powerful.
Like that, I would have not, for want of a better phrase, got off on like that. I would have been like, like really, really, wow. But I also understand you going to America and seeing stuff. But I really want your interpretation of it because I've lived in America for 5 years as well.
Okay.
I lived in Chicago for 5 years, and understanding the difference in the culture here, even in the knowledge within the black community. Because in the black community in America, for me, they're a lot more knowledgeable about their history and where they come from, what's happened in the past, how to have that whole sense of community, understanding what it is to be community, how to achieve the goals we want, how to get better further down the line for our generations. I think they're more aware. I think the world's got a lot smaller because of the internet. But for me, Americans were always very, very well plugged into their African kind of heritage roots and understanding who they were as black people because of the segregation and the racism in America. And there wouldn't have been no surviving if there wasn't solidarity, as far as it goes, as far as my interpretation of everything is. So when you go in there, and coming from England, going there, it blew my mind.
Yeah.
So, but you said you came back with a whole different set of thinking patterns,
different perspective.
And then what came out of that?
Well, what came out of that, it was just that it just showed me that we can, once we've got a goal and once our attitude's right, we can just accomplish anything we want to accomplish. There was no holding back. There was no turning back. It really just led me onto the path then to discover, I wonder what Africa's going to be like. So that's the path it led me to. And so that's why I said that's when I emigrated to Pan-Africanism.
Nice.
So whereas before I grew up in a religious circle, I said that I'm now going to elevate myself out of religion and into Pan-Africanism and into African spirituality. So that was my progression, and that's what that taught me. So that.
Pull them up towards you a little bit as well, just so you're talking into it.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's what that taught me. My progression to African spirituality and Pan-Africanism.
What is Pan-Africanism, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, so if we define it, Pan meaning all, and Africanism talking about land, talking about your blackness, and also talking about your Afrocentricity. So you're dealing with all and everything you're dealing with land, Africa, Afrocentricity, and the way forward as a people. So that's my definition of Pan-Africanism.
Does that extend to the Caribbean as well? Is that because you said you're Jamaican-born African, is it? Or
No, I said I'm
African-born Jamaican. Sorry.
I said I'm an African out of Jamaica.
African out of Jamaica, go on.
Yeah, so
My mic's really loud. Can I
It's-
take the levels?
so it's not meaning, what it is that growing up at school, we always had this divide.
That's what I'm saying. Exactly.
And what it is that I'm trying to let you know that there's no divide.
Yeah.
I'm an African,
Yeah.
but I just happen to be one of the Africans that got dropped off in Jamaica.
Yeah.
You know? So there's no divide. So when I go to Africa, I'm very clear that I'm an African. You know, some people like to go, oh, but I'm a Jamaican and this. No, I'm an African first.
Yeah.
I'm a Jamaican second.
Yeah.
I don't ever go and tell anybody I'm British. You know what I'm saying? I tell them I'm African.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did we get to that divide of African and Caribbean?
You got 2 cup, please.
How did we get to that divide of African and Caribbean?
Well, you know something? I just think it was a divide and conquer rule set up by the white man. I just think that they've always sown bad images of us in the media, in particular on TV, about the image of Africa. So every year they're doing this fundraising, World Aid Day or it's Bob Geldof rubbish each year, and trying to put Africa in the dark ages. But it's not until you actually go there and experience for yourself. I'm going to cities that look better than London. Do you see what I'm saying? I just come back from Tanzania. I went to a place called Zanzibar Island. They've got nothing like this.
Serious.
You know, one of their national parks is as big as London.
Wow.
London can fit into Tanzania. England can fit into Tanzania 9 times.
See, and these are the things that they don't tell us.
Yeah, they're not going to tell you this.
Exactly.
They're not going to tell you this. So they can't come tell
9
me.
times the size.
Yeah,
And it's a part
England can fit. England can
Yeah.
fit into Tanzania 9 times. One of their national parks is as big as London. So this little island, it got no say when it comes to Tanzania. They're little
in general.
dot on the map. Yeah.
But I think their power lies in the media and propaganda, because all they do is tell us these stories of how strong and how powerful they are. But you're saying that we've got a park in Tanzania which is bigger than London.
That's
You know what
right.
I'm saying? So
I think their power lies in all the resources that they've stole over the years, or all the things, because this money's the power they're using, isn't it? Everyone's there. They use that propaganda machine, and then it's all part and parcel of the
100%.
Yeah.
whole thing. So what's your first step in becoming, in stepping away from the church and stepping into the Pan-African? How did you describe it again? Pan-Africanism.
Yeah, Pan-Africanism
Yeah,
and
what's the first
African
step?
and African spirituality.
And African spirituality. That was the next part of it.
Well, what it was is I first and foremost give credit to Minister Farrakhan, because it was Minister Farrakhan that first opened up my eyes. So I give him credit. And the more I listened to him, the more I got to understand more about our culture and about the power that we have within ourselves, and how racism is working, and the reason why we're sometimes in the condition that we're in. And then I started listening to some of his students, and his most successful student was my mentor, Dr. Khalid Muhammad. So if you don't know Dr. Khalid Muhammad,
To Khalid Muhammad.
you have to just
Google him.
Google him. You'll see a interview he did on Phil Donahue.
Okay.
You know Phil Donahue?
I know.
Yeah, so you look on that interview, that's the man that I revere. So
Khalid Muhammad, yeah?
Khalid
Oh, I've written
Muhammad,
it down already.
Dr. Khalid Muhammad,
Let me do the Phil Donahue interview.
Phil Donahue show. So it's probably the number one interview that you probably see a black man do in front of a white man, and he tears him up. Takes him to shreds. So yeah, that's
He educates him.
That's the man.
He lets it be known.
That's it.
Doesn't fall into the propaganda machine
He
at
tried-
all.
He laid so many traps and tricks for Dr. Khalid, and Dr. Khalid just overstep all of them.
So what I get from that is you need to know what you're talking about. You need to understand exactly where you come from
Most definitely.
and what the history is.
Yep.
What the history is, whether it's his story, your story. What you need to know what the history is and what's
Most
going on.
definitely. Most definitely. And so it was through listening to Dr. Khalid Muhammad that made me want to really explore Africa.
Okay.
And so in 2003, I had a birthday present, Earth Day present, and that was...
You say Earth Day present?
Earth Day present.
Earth Day present.
Yeah, yeah. And that was my first trip to a place called the Gambia.
Okay.
West Africa.
Okay.
And it was good for me because I'd always wanted to go to Africa. I just didn't know when I was going to go. And so it was timing was great because that country, when I was growing up, I must have been about 8 years old, I watched that film or that TV series called Roots. And I never knew that Roots was based on the country of the Gambia. That's where Kunta Kinte was born.
Wow.
So it helped me connect with something that I watched as an 8-year-old. And it kind of mentally affected me watching that series, you know.
I think it affected everyone.
I didn't know that this trauma or this type of horrendous acts were carried out on Africans until I saw that movie Roots. And so I'd always wanted to see, I'd like to go to that place where Kunta Kinte was born. And I ended up in Gambia 2003 and fell in love with the place. I've been going every year since.
Nice.
And as a result, in 2006, I set up my own tour company.
Okay, I thought you were going to go somewhere else. I thought you read my mind. I thought you just read my mind, you know. You nearly did, but you didn't. You nearly did, but you didn't. Go on, let's talk about tour company.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to talk about manhood thing. I want to talk about manhood, but we're getting there. Sorry.
Well, this comes first, and then manhood comes afterwards.
Cool.
So, 2003, and I kept on going back. And then 2006, I decided to form a company called AGA Tours.
AGA Tours. Is that this?
AGA.
Is that this?
Yep.
AGA Tours with this, yeah?
Yeah.
I'm not sure if this will be cool for you by the time it goes out, because when we air this, this might have become and gone already. But this is now AGA Tours 8-night safari group tour in Rwanda and Uganda. Welcome you there. If you haven't been, go find your roots, find out what's going on. Huey Rose has got a company that will assist you. They've done all the looking around, all that stuff. They'll take you where you need to go to. You go on the Gorilla Trail.
Gorilla Trek.
Trek.
Safari. We also visit Uganda too.
You go to Uganda?
Yeah, so it's Rwanda and Uganda. And the website, www.agatours.co.uk.
One more time, please.
www.agatours.co.uk.
And 3 more times, please. Come on. So you started AG Tours.
So started AGA Tours 2006. And we roughly take around 100 people each year. We go 2 times a year.
Nice.
And we used to go for the Roots Homecoming Festival. That used to be the name of the festival, the Roots Homecoming Festival. And it was in that particular festival where you get to go through a mini rites of passage. And it was in about 2014 that I took Davis.
Davis?
Yeah.
Who's Davis?
Davis Williams is the founder of Manhood Academy.
Okay, big up Davis Williams.
Yep, Davis Williams, Manhood Academy Global.
Manhood Academy, Global. Bruh. I know you're doing big things, good things for the youth. Bring them from childhood into manhood.
Yeah, so when I took Davis there in 2014, and he participated with the president of the country in the rites of passage.
Wow.
He then left Gambia, came back to England and said, boy, we need to instill that into our young people here in the UK.
It's necessary.
So
that's why so much people are so lost.
Yeah, so he got 7 other brothers together and formulated Manhood Academy.
Nice.
And the rest is history.
You one of the brothers?
I'm one of the brothers.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice,
I'm one of the brothers.
Nice.
And so, so I was at the inception. So I'm considered a co-founder.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, co-founder.
Nice.
So I did all the arrangements in regards to
Traveling and all that.
traveling and all that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my role. And then what we did, we formulated it in 2016.
2016.
That's when Manhood Academy got started.
Okay.
We're called
Established.
We're now called Manhood Academy Global.
Manhood Academy Global.
MAG. You can see it here.
Man, could please let's get that. You got that? You getting that? MAG. Manifest Abundance Gratitude. See it there?
Yeah, those are our,
That's your mantra.
that's our mantra. And we are now a registered charity.
Nice. So if you want to donate, MAG, Manhood Academy Global.
Yes.
Check it out. Donate. They're doing good things. We're going to find out exactly more, elaborate on what the good things they are doing now as he was talking, but they're doing big things. Big things.
How do you donate? Is it just on the website?
Yeah, you can. We have a website called www.manhoodacademyglobal.com, and we also have a GoFundMe account, which is Manhood Academy
Nice.
Global.
Nice.
And so in 2018, we took 15 young masters with us. I think I gave you the flyer.
You did. Here's one he made earlier.
Yeah, so that's one of our flyers. And out of the 2018, we took those young masters to the Gambia around the Christmas period.
Yeah.
And they completed their rites of passage.
Yeah.
And came back as men. They went there as boys.
Yeah.
But they came back from Gambia as men.
It's so important. Young person, you can ask questions if you want to ask questions. Anytime, put your hand up. You can ask questions if you want to ask questions. You don't have to. You don't want to. It's so important that transition, the transformation, is celebrated, is monitored, is you're helped into it, and that's, I believe personally, that's the reason for a lot of the problems out here. Like, and with certain people at certain ages where they're just confused. They've got no understanding of how to move from one part of their life to another. How to transcend from a child into an adult. Sorry.
Yeah.
And the things that they're going to be facing and the behaviour that they're going to have to exercise. And unless they're helped and taught, and I do believe, I mean, I don't resent it, but I don't like to. The comparison was made, the Jewish. But, however, Jews have bar mitzvahs.
That's right.
And that is a young man's, a boy is becoming a man. And I know there's others in other cultures, but I just know about bar mitzvahs. I probably know more off the top of my head. But that lets you know, okay, you was a boy, now you're becoming a man. These are the things you're going to have to face, and so on and so forth. Like, that rite of passage is so, I wanted to swear, but I'm being so good today. It's so fundamental to the growth and the progression of any young person.
That's right.
And it's just unbelievable how we've neglected it. And I think this is also part of the way you mash people up.
Yeah.
Or the way we personally are not doing the best we can for each other by neglecting this part of development.
Yeah.
And then wondering why you got big people going like Pitney.
That's right. So so what we did when we started out, we was just focusing on the teenage masters, so between the age of 13 to 19. And then we had some parents that came back to us and said, listen, you need to get them before that, because we got young ones that are misbehaving now and we think they need to be in. So we changed things up to allow 8 to 12-year-olds.
Nice.
So we've got we do a Saturday curriculum for the 8 to 12-year-olds, and we do a Wednesday curriculum for the 13 to 19-year-olds. And so we run it twice a week.
Okay.
And the 13 to 19-year-olds, they're supposed to stay with us for 1 year. And then after that year, that's when they'll do their rites of passage to Africa. And so
to stay 1 year learning and being mentored and just like
so we have cycles that we go through. So we use the 4 elements. So earth, fire, water, and air. And then we utilize those elements and attach it to their everyday life.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
And so that's the elements we go through for those 12 months.
Okay.
And we do some practical things where we take them camping, where they can see what it's like in the countryside as opposed to just being in the city.
Yeah. In the country.
That's right. So it's very exciting for them, and it's also good for us to be amongst them when this is happening. And so we've got a very strong team of volunteers that help mentor these young masters, and we also set up the Womanhood Academy.
Well done.
And also Parenthood Academy.
Nice.
Because we believe that the family needs to work in cohesion.
It's community.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
So what will help the young people is the parents knowing how to interact with them too.
Yeah.
So we've got the Parenthood Academy, Womanhood Academy, and Manhood Academy.
To me, it's all part and parcel
right.
of that community for me, because to me, in our community back home, in the village-based community, in my community, I was growing up, if I was misbehaving or someone was misbehaving and my parent could get through to me, someone else could come in and talk or give the parent advice on how to deal with that child.
That's right.
Because they've seen it before, or just offer just a whole different perspective on things. And this is very, very important, I believe.
Yeah.
You say, like, what you're doing is amazing. I love that. There's a reason you're sitting there, Huey. Sorry.
And, you know, the thing about it is that there are other organisations also out there that are doing good works. So we sometimes do collaborations with other organisations.
Good.
So Westside Academy.
Westside Academy
is another organisation that
look out for them, please. Westside Academy. Nice.
That you should send your children to.
Okay.
Yeah.
You got any others?
There are others. We've got Africa Bantu School, which is a Saturday school.
Okay.
Based in South London.
Okay.
You also got the Nubian school too.
Nubian school.
It's a Saturday school.
There's a guy online. I see him. Blacker, I think the guy's name is. I know they got a school over West London as well. I think some over West London, over your side.
Okay.
Badder, not Blacker. Badder.
Oh yeah, Badder. Badder's got a school.
What school's that? What's the name of that school?
I think it's called Badder. Badder School.
Badder School.
Yeah, I think I'd have to go into my
big up Badder as well. He's doing big things. I love the stuff that he's doing online. I see him online. I think that's good for the youth.
He's doing a lot of creative stuff with them and music, affiliated teaching them music and things like that. So yeah, big up to Badder.
Yeah. But look out for all these academies as well. Like, it's good. See what I'm saying, Huey? Yeah. We was talking about there not being examples and stuff before. You know what I'm going to...
Yeah.
You just give me 4 or 5. You know what I'm saying? We're
right.
out there. You are a beacon, a light in the darkness, a breath of fresh air, and all the other people that are at Manhood Academy. I would like to celebrate you right now and say thank you. Because even just hearing the idea, because I know this gentleman through Albert, even just hearing the ideas, it's ignited stuff within me. Do you know what I'm saying? So
nice.
I can only but imagine the things you're doing for the kids immediately, and then the families as well, and the other people that they're interacting with as well. That's how things spread out and go.
Yes.
Because you teach a young man how to be a young man, the family's all right. Then he goes out into the world and he's teaching other young men, or he's doing the right thing in the world. He's a representative for our culture, for himself and for his family as well. So come on, it's big things, man.
Yeah, man.
Big things, man.
It's a village.
Yeah.
It's a village. Takes a village to raise.
Come on.
Raise a child.
All right, yeah. I like that last one. Come on. I'll mash up my leg on the thing. So we're talking Manhood Academy. We're talking development. I'd leave you. Take what do you want to talk about? About within the parameters of this stuff, or is there anything you want to bring up? Any things you want to subjects you want to talk about?
Yeah. So my main thing is we need to Africate our people.
We're gonna make a new word here. We made one new word on this show with a person called Janelle Rayburn. I don't know if you know Janelle Rayburn. Lovely person. She's from West London as well. But I can't remember the word. But say that word again for me, please.
We need to Africate.
We need to Africate. The new word is Africate. What's the definition of that word, Africate, please, sir?
I would just say that need to know about your African self.
Know about your African self.
Your African self.
Have you been Africated? Somewhat. This one's from America, so she.
Okay.
Yeah. What state are you from?
AFR minor.
Huh?
I was AFR minor, African and African Diaspora Studies.
Okay.
That was my minor.
So you've been Africanated.
A little bit.
You're not gonna get into your answers probably. Then.
So, sorry, what state did you say?
Oh, Texas.
Oh, Texas. Okay. Lone Ranger, JR stuff.
Yeah.
Dallas.
Dallas.
That's right.
Money. Wizard, are you Africanated?
Africanated.
It's Africanated, isn't it?
Yeah.
You been Africanated? Or would you like to be Africanated?
I'd like to be Africanated, I think.
No, Africated.
Africated. See, I'm messing up. Africated.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Don't mess up my word now.
Sorry. I'm redividing it. Say what was that?
Africated.
Africated. All right, would you like to be Africated? Let's define the word Africated now.
The definition is really to know your knowledge about Africa and be your African self.
Okay.
Be your African self.
Yeah, be your African self.
Yeah.
And then how do you...
And be unapologetically African.
Okay, so that's three things. Let's run them again. Run them again, please.
All right. Be your African self.
Be your African self. Your authentic African self.
Yeah. Have the knowledge of self.
Have the knowledge of self.
And be unapologetically African.
Be unapologetically African. Why?
Because in these days and times, it's very important.
Why?
You need to know where you stand.
I would say why is because when I look at, I don't know many other nations that are apologetic. That's what I was looking for. Is actually I don't want to start naming things, but a lot of nations are unapologetic for them, being them themselves. They wear their thing on their sleeve and they're proud of it. So I concur with what you're saying. But I was looking to say that that's the reason we have to do it. Black and I'm proud. Shout out loud. Or African and proud. Sorry, let me redo it.
Yeah.
I was going to say something about, because you mentioned something about power and prejudice earlier, wasn't it?
Yes, defining racism.
I think in what you said, like, you see that park that's the size of London?
Yes.
It kind of shows you that the power that there is in Africa that they're trying to hide from us.
No. It shows you the power that's in Africa that they're trying to hide from us.
Yeah. They've got a park the size of London.
Yeah. a park, a national park.
Yeah.
The size of
that
London.
Means that the place itself must be massive and house
Thank you.
people. Do you know what I mean?
And you see how they try and place Africa on a map like a small.
And underneath everything.
I think even us saying the word Africa is too small because we almost compare Africa to Jamaica in certain conversations.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But the size of Africa, I've heard you can fit every country in the world into Africa, really. That's what I've heard.
Yeah.
So all they're doing is hiding that we have the power, and we do have the power, but we're brainwashed to think that we don't have the power.
Yeah.
I proclaim, chewing gum in my mouth. Sorry, viewers at home, if you saw something in my mouth, I do apologise. I proclaim to start a new name for Africa as well. No longer going to call it Africa if I can help it. That's the last time. I'm going to be calling it, as I've heard it before, the motherland. I like that better.
Nice.
I think I'm going to be saying the motherland. It's up to you what you want to call the motherland, but I come from the motherland, and that's what I'm going to be calling it from now on. Gave birth to everybody as far as I'm concerned.
That's right. So I'm just going to give you my closing points.
Don't say, wait, were you running away?
Yeah, because
No, I can't do
we're on a
anything.
beat.
Yeah,
Remember,
no,
we're on a
I like it.
Yeah, so if anybody wants to send their child to us, please contact us via the website, which is www.manhoodacademyglobal.com. And if you are interested in taking a trip or a tour to Africa you've never been before, again, you can call me on 07940 081 651, 07940 081 651, or you can actually get us on the website or Google us, AGA Tours, AGA Tours, or www.agatours.co.uk. We have several big trips planned for 2023. The first one is in May, which you get to travel to Uganda and Rwanda. Safari, gorilla trekking, obviously you're able to go through both countries without a problem. The cost is about $2,999 per person based on 2 people sharing. Transfers, flights, hotel, accommodation, breakfast is all included in that. All your safari fees, all your taxes, all of that's included. Our next trip will be in October, which will be to Tanzania, the same country I was speaking about earlier, where England can be fitted into at least 9 times. Okay. That will also include a safari trip. That will be for around 12 days. We'll also be visiting Zanzibar Island, which has some of the best beaches in the world. Tanzania is very important landscape, and it's in East Africa. So if you want to come to Tanzania, again, contact us for that. And our last trip will be our signature trip, which is the Gambia. And that will be from the 8th of December to the 22nd of December. So you can either do 1 week to the 15th or 2 weeks to the 22nd. And that's about £1,300 for the week. Or if you want to do 2 weeks, it's a bit more. So again, you can call 07903 591426 or 07940 081 651. If you cannot get to Africa this year, not a problem.
The motherland.
We do these trips each year. The motherland is very important. Yep. We do a 1-day excursion in the UK. It's actually called African Ladies' Day at the Ascot. So on that particular day, it's a horse racing day. You get to go up in a luxury coach, and then you can spend the whole day, and the only thing you need to do is dress in African attire. So we do not allow anyone to come with us that does not dress in African attire, and you must be on time for your coach, which leaves 9 o'clock from Brixton Town Hall and comes back at 9 o'clock. So what's included in that is your luxury coach travel, your entrance into the Ascot, your food, 3-course meal, buffet, drinks, all day throughout the day is included. £150, and that will be June the 22nd, which is a Thursday. Ladies' Day, men are welcome too, but you must put on African attire. That's it for me.
That's it for you, yeah?
Yeah.
I love that, you know. Listen, when you come up and you better use a platform right, I love that, you know. You got everything.
I've got everything.
Right, so
everything.
I want to say, if you want to volunteer to mentor to Manhood Academy, what do you do if you want to volunteer to mentor?
Again, come through to the website and put forward your interests, and we'll get you on board.
I also want to say it's refreshing to speak to a man from the same place where I'm from, as far as I'm concerned, as someone I can identify, someone who looks like me and is doing such great things. When I met you just on a random. You was doing something for Centrepoint, working for home, helping out the homeless people as well.
That's
you do
right.
so much stuff for different people.
Yeah.
And we just bumped, but it's just like, when I spoke to you, it was random. It was on the road. Remember how we spoke?
That's right.
It's like,
then you turn back.
Yeah, I had to come back. I turned back. You know what I'm saying? So I was in awe, and it was nice to talk to you. You inspired me. You inspire me. I'm glad to learn from you. I think the things you're doing and your team are doing are fucking amazing. I had to put that in there. Not sure that's true, but
thank you.
Yeah, they're amazing. What else do I want to say? Live talks. So you got to listen. Talk to people you might not necessarily talk to when you're out there. This is for you guys at home. Me meeting Huey Rose and most of the people that I meet on the show is through random conversations and understanding that there's great energy and great stories behind people's doors if you just take time to listen to them and talk to them and to find out, and maybe just stop being so driven by the daily, what's the time, I've got to go to work, I've got to do this, I've got to do that, I've got to do that. You don't have to do those things. All you have to do is die. That's the only thing you got to do. So what you do in between it is up to you. Stop conforming to these constraints. And the last thing I remember get life insurance. It's important. You're gonna die. Take care of your loved ones. Do you know? Yeah. Sorry, I'm moving on. Huey Rose, thank you so much. Man in the
Thank you
Academy.
too.
Life Talks. Huey Rose.
Thank you.
Wizard. Woo! And me, I.O. Fawole. Thank you. Huey, thank you so much, brother.
Thank you too.
Thank you.
Thank you too.
Man. It was nice.